Thank you very much for your inspiring talk. Today at the City Club of Cleveland, we are listening to a special program featuring Deb Delisle, Superintendent of Public Education for the Ohio Department of Education. We will return to our speaker momentarily for our City Club questions. Please formulate your questions now, and I remind you that your questions should be brief and to the point. Now, we return to our speaker for our traditional Q&A period. We welcome questions from everyone, including guests. Holding the microphones today are City Club Outreach and Membership Manager Deborah Delisle and PR and Program Manager Carrie Miller. The first question, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Quentin Elder. I'm a student at Martin Luther King High School, and I am also a part of the Student of Promise program. I wanted to ask you, what does it mean to have 21st century education when there are so many disparities in different areas of public education throughout Ohio?
Thank you. Outstanding question. What it means to have 21st century education learning is to really change the learning environment so that you are highly engaged and active in the learning process. So I often refer to, especially at the secondary level, and hopefully you don't have too many classes like this, as too many high school classes are page-turning classes, page 21, page 22, page 23. And so what we're really trying to design are those learning activities for students that would be relevant to the world in which you live, and also to tap into the interests that you have, and that you can learn better by engaging with other kids. Exploring a solution to a problem, learning how to work cooperatively in a team, using technology at a very advanced level in order to find those solutions. And you bring up a larger picture, which is one that is really disturbing to me as the state superintendent, and that's the great inequity of opportunities that we have across the state. So the two are combined, but we're looking at certainly the first one, the 21st centuries, as being a really primary opportunity for all of Ohio students, and then working a lot in terms of development of better education programs, better initiatives, working with leaders in schools as well as with teachers, so that those inequities of opportunity don't exist. I will very often refer to our achievement gap as really an issue of an expectation gap. And so we've got to lift up the expectations for every teacher in Ohio, every principal, every superintendent, that all of their students are worthy of the kinds of work that they could do. So thank you for your question.
Thank you. Your talk was inspirational and aspirational, so I only want to give it the highest marks. But I think I noticed that you may have failed to mention one issue, which is early childhood education. And if you would spend just a few moments on that, and especially the state's role in that.
Sure. I think within the brief amount of time, I know I left out several things, including higher ed, and I have great respect for both ends because we're really trying to create this P16 system. One of the greatest sort of promises we have right now is that as part of House Bill 1, there's actually a directive to combine all of the early childhood services that are spread across a variety of agencies at the state level government into one agency, which is the Department of Education. So we have a transition plan in place. The State Board of Education will actually be designating a separate subcommittee that will focus totally on early childhood education. We have reached out. In fact, part of our Race to the Top application includes some pre-assessments prior to coming into kindergarten to not just look at literacy issues, but look at social and emotional issues, numeracy, et cetera. So we have a lot of opportunities really to expand that area. So thank you for bringing that up. We love our little children, our babies. Oh, I'm sorry. I've got to keep turning around.
Hello, Superintendent Delisle, Stuart Musinski from Project Love Purple America.
Good, thanks. How are you?
We spoke a lot, and you spoke a lot about the academic content standards in the state of Ohio and around the country. But one thing that you didn't specifically address were the character content standards that are important to education. I think for many of us, there's been nothing more heart-wrenching than seeing the media reports about the suicide in Massachusetts at South Hadley High School, about the incidents in Florida, about a few incidents here in Northeast Ohio that we've had within the past month, about suicides in Northeast Ohio, which the Maltz Award, one of which the Maltz Award winner mentioned. And I'd like you to address what can be done in the area of character and values education to address this issue. I know that the state of Maryland has been a leader in mandating character and values education with great success. And I know that there's a lot of research that shows where programs are directed, integrated with teachers, integrated with students, even brought in from the outside in a school district, where students focus on character, values, respect, how they treat one another in a proactive way, that it increases school climate, it lessens violence, it increases learning. So can you comment on that?
Sure. I'll try to be as succinct as possible because it's sort of a complex issue. First of all, you know, in Ohio it is a local control state, and so to that end, both the Ohio Department of Education and the State Board of Education respond to the legislative pieces that are put before them, and that is how the rules, for example, that are accepted and adopted by the Department of Education, ultimately by the State Board of Education, are crafted. And I put that as a precursor on my response because we've been really sensitive to the issue around character development and character education across the state. It isn't something that we're ignoring, but at the same time we're attempting to tread rather lightly on that from the standpoint of kind of lifting up the practices that have gone on across the state in individual pockets. There are many school districts across the state who have really decided at the local level what will work best within the context of their community as well as their schools. With that being said, I do suspect that we will be looking more deeply into that as we roll out the standards, because when I talk about 21st century skills, I have countless examples of things that I've done in my own career that really, to me, are at the core of being, if you will, as a student and as a learner, as a future citizen, and that's learning how to act upon your caring, for example. And you could do that within the context of the 21st century skills that I was referencing. So when you're talking about kids learning in an interdisciplinary method and getting to discover issues that are far more relevant to their world, they're naturally going to be bubbling up some issues that really kind of tie into character development without teaching character development as a separate component or a separate lesson, if you will. So the more that we roll out these standards and decide what do those mean at the local level, hopefully we'll have far greater examples of what can be done to integrate those essential skills into every student's learning.
Good afternoon, Mr. Delisle. I have heard everything you said, and
I hear a big butt coming.
Yes.
Okay.
And to put it in the parameters, I am a former educator, social worker, and I've done a lot of things you said in this community. And what I find hard to take is that we've been working in this community and trying to provide solutions for education, and then comes the opportunity to develop a process to help change the schools, and our community is totally ignored. And now we are left with a process that has catastrophic ramifications with regards to the reduction in staff in schools. And we, as a community, are being asked now, go and support them, go help them, when they ignored us in the process of change. What are you going to do to support us? Because now we are faced with a situation where the transformation plan process is going to cause catastrophic damage to the educational process here in the city of Cleveland, and we are not getting a voice heard as a community. We need support from your office. We need support from the state, because the leadership of our community is not listening to us.
I'm not quite sure what you meant by that you were ignored at the very beginning. At the beginning,
we were ignored in the development of the transformation plan process that's been implemented and voted on by the Cleveland Municipal School District. And now they're in a situation where they're not able to fund it, and they're going to look to us to probably develop a levy. And we have not had a voice in developing a solution to our community situation with the school. And we want them to become more responsive to us. We know we don't have a vote anymore for the school board, but they have ignored us. They have ignored our requests for what needs to happen, and we want support, and we need your support. What are you going to do?
Well, first of all, I've had some initial conversations with Dr. Sanders, and I know he's hearing your concerns, so I'm sure that he will have an opportunity to speak with you after this. We will continue to have those dialogues, and to the extent that we can enter into the school district and continue on to help facilitate the process, we would certainly be happy to do that.